Let's talk about procedures and expectations for using your iPads at school. The most important thing to remember is that the iPads at school are tools for learning. Just like any other tool in the classroom, if we're using them, it's because we have work to do. An important part of being successful and doing our best work with iPads is to make sure we activate our brain. The next important rule to remember is to stay on task. When you're using your iPad, it's because you have work to do. Whether you're learning something new or completing work, it's because your teacher has given you a task to do. And just like with any work, it's important that you follow the directions as they were given. So let's break that down a little bit. One thing to be sure of is to make sure if you're doing something on your iPad that it is the right time. If your attention should be somewhere else, you shouldn't be on your iPad. If you're transitioning or your class is doing something that doesn't involve an iPad, then you shouldn't be on your iPad. So be aware of where your attention should be focused. The apps and websites you use or visit and how you use them should only be as directed by your teacher. Just like with anything else in your classroom, you should be doing what the instructions tell you to do in the way you were told to complete the work. You should never be doing something on your iPad that you haven't discussed with your teacher or been told to do by your teacher. And that includes staying out of the settings. There might be times when teachers direct you to go into settings, but unless the teacher tells you to, you are not changing settings on your own. The third thing we always have to remember is to care for our iPads. The first step in caring for our iPads is to keep it clean. And the first step in keeping our iPads clean is to have clean hands. The other way that's really important is to keep food and drink away from our iPad. We should never be eating or drinking while using our iPad, and we want to make sure iPads are put away if food or drink is nearby. The other part of caring for our iPads is how we handle it when we are using it throughout the day. Things to keep in mind. If you're going somewhere with your iPad, you should be walking and carrying it with two hands. When you're using your iPad, as well as when you're not, it should always be in a safe location where it's safe from being knocked over or falling or accidentally stepped on. And you should always know where it is. And finally, be sure you charge it and put it away properly. Your teacher will help you in this area, but ultimately it is your responsibility to make sure that your iPad is charged when it needs to be used. While there will be specific instructions in specific places or for specific tasks, there are 3 general rules that will help you be sure you are always following the necessary expectations and procedures for how we use iPads at the lower school. Number 1, they are tools for learning. That's what they're here for. That's how we use them. That's how we get our brain going so we're ready to do our best. Number 2, stay on task and only use the iPads as directed by your teacher. And finally, take care of those iPads. We keep them clean, we keep them safe, we keep them charged.